in beautiful California, just down the road from Santa Cruz, with a very old and a very great friend of mine, Monnica Sepulveda, an outstanding medium and a very happy one. And she's with me now.
I'm not old either.
No, you're an old friend. You're not an old
Right.
person, all right? In fact, let's start out with that.
And I'm older than you, too.
Yeah. Well,
I am.
who isn't? But let's start out with that, because you look absolutely fantastic.
Thank
You've lost
you.
a lot of weight.
Yes.
You've got life pouring out of you. So for people watching this video cast, how have you done it? What's the kind of diet regime that's transformed you?
It's actually more than dieting. It was actually, I stopped eating to repress my emotions. I would eat to cope with my emotions, and that's why I was gaining weight. And then all of a sudden, when I started to release my emotions and feel things, I started to lose weight, and then I wanted to eat clean. So I got rid of white foods.
What do you call white food?
White food would be, well, being of Mexican descent, tortillas, rice, flour. The carbs that are white are the worst for you. I got rid of that. I started eating a lot more fruits and vegetables and protein, and I have a great regimen. It works really well. But I do this for 6 days a week, and on the 7th day, you just carve out anything you've been craving. You have it that day. You have, if you want cocktails, if you want dessert, if you want pasta, whatever it is, you have whatever, as long as it's high in carbs and you can have sugar. And then what it does is it recalibrates the brain so it doesn't feel like you're starving it. And then the next day you go back on your plan again, which you're happy to do because you feel kind of crappy after eating crappy food. So the next day you feel good again, and you continue to lose weight and you don't plateau. So I was able to lose it in less than 6 months.
So that's this process of if the brain and the body thinks it's starving, it stores fat to protect itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this prevents it. And when people don't do this, they also hit plateaus, and they can stay there for a month. They don't lose anything, and then they get frustrated and they go right off of it. I don't like to use the word diet because the first 3 letters are die. And diets are just temporary. I just find it a new way of eating, and I'll do it the rest of my life. And however much weight I lose, fine. I mean, my target is to lose another 25. I don't know if I'm going to need to. I feel good right now, but why not?
Well, what's this about emotion then? Emotion and weight?
Oh, wow. Because we all have emotions that we repress, and as we know, we use a huge percentage of our energy to repress emotions, like 90%. And if we freed up that energy, we could use it in other ways. Creativity to manifest things, visualization. You're just happier. And when you're happier, you attract good things, because we attract what we think about, we attract what we feel, whatever we believe in, that's what we get. And so therefore, when you're happy, your energy is like a magnet. It just brings to you the things that you want.
And I guess it's like the body is a reflection of the mind, consciousness, emotion.
Yeah.
And so what you are holding in emotionally, your body holds in,
Yes.
but stores it in the form of fat.
And I heard it really well a couple nights ago. Our biology is our biography. Who we are is right here. It's manifesting here. So when we're really sick or when we're overweight, that's really telling us about our biography. It's really who we're wearing, who we are right here. And we have to respect that more. And for me, once I started getting signals such as high blood pressure, hypertension, diabetes, I thought, well, how much more evidence do you need? Your body is out of sync, it's out of whack, it's not happy at all. And it works for you 24/7 nonstop. So why are you disrespecting it this way? So when I finally got a hold of information about how to release those emotions that are toxic, I started using it, and then the weight just dropped off, and then I got addicted to tasting good foods.
Actually, tasting food probably for the first time.
Well, you actually, yeah, your palate changes. Your taste buds change. It's really, food tastes good.
Have you found, since this happened, and I tell you, when I saw you, I haven't seen you for a while, face to face, you looked extraordinarily healthy and alive compared with the last time I saw you. So what does that do for you? What have you found it's done for you when you're, if you like, tuning in?
I found that my ability as a telepath has been increased. I get clearer messages from my clients, and I'm able to hear clearer in many dimensions, not just people who are deceased and crossed over. I communicate with people's family members who've crossed over. I've done that for years. First time it happened, I was 11, I've been doing this work for 44 years now. However, I noticed that I'm able to hear clearer, and I like reading auditorily or telepathically, because then I can hear it and repeat it, and it's easier. I am an empath as well. I feel what people feel, and that's how I read their health, because I feel what they're feeling. I'm like, okay, and I need to get out of their body. I also get images as well, which is more clairvoyance, but most of it is clairaudience. So that's increased tremendously. And now I'm able to communicate with dimensions up to like the 8th dimension with terrestrial beings. And they're extremely informative, they're very advanced, and they have a lot of information to share with us. We only use a small part of our brain, but I think that we're starting to use a lot more.
You know, one of the themes of what I do is the suppression of people becoming aware of and becoming influenced by and inspired by consciousness beyond the 5 senses. When you look, of course, wherever you look these days, there's toxicity. This toxic world, these toxic bodies that people walk around with, what effect does that have on their ability to access higher awareness?
It's difficult. They mostly stick with the left brain, which is linear, as we know. It holds history. The right brain is the one that accesses intuition and current. It discloses current information that we need in order for us to know where to go next in our lives. It's current information. History is stored in the left brain. It's already outdated. So if you want to get direction, it's important to connect here and here. They're both the same. And when there's toxicity around us, there's toxicity within us, because we are always reacting. The key is not to react to certain stimuli such as fear, worry, and doubt, but if it's within you, let it out. And sometimes what I do is I'll feel it for 5 minutes intensely, and I look at the clock and I go, okay, after that I'm going to let it come up and I'm going to bless it. And the way I bless it is I send it love and I transform it, because as we know, we can't create energy, we can't destroy energy, but we can convert it. That's for sure. We know that. So I convert the energy, and then I let it go and I give it a task. I'll just say, go to the nearest hospital and heal people there. So I turn a negative situation into a positive one by doing that. And it takes about 5 minutes. That's just one of the tools I use.
So what you would say is, don't repress emotion. Don't think,
no.
Like people say in Britain, about men, you must have a stiff upper lip and just take it and hold it all in and not show emotion. The opposite is,
I would say bollocks to that.
Yeah.
And I'm not even British, so.
No. I would say bollocks to lots of things,
yeah.
including that. We see this, and it's like this phrase, better out than in. And people...
I mean, would you stop yourself from having a bowel movement? I don't care. We wouldn't. I mean, that's pretty graphic. But I'm trying to make a point here. You don't stop yourself from having a bowel movement. You got to get rid of toxins from within. And when you got to go, you got to go. And you don't analyze your shit either. You flush the toilet and you let it go. So why analyze our emotions like that? You got to get them out and let them go. I know that's pretty graphic. Was that rude? Was I rude?
Well, you have been known to be Molly, but that's you, isn't it?
I know.
But it's like if the emotions are not experienced and felt and released by feeling them,
right,
then what's left? I mean, what is an emotion? It's not that an emotion doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's an energetic field.
It
right?
is, yeah.
And therefore, it's that emotion in its imbalanced state is actually interacting with your body until you let it go.
Absolutely, and even thinking about that emotion makes it real. That's how powerful the mind is. So we have to always pay attention to what's coming up. And I call that conscious living, when you're paying attention to everything you're feeling, thinking, and believing. And when you find that, let's say if a person's more in a negative state, it's a sign that we have work to do on ourselves.
Right.
And we can do it, and it's not hard. That's the key. It's just everything is a choice away. Everything. And it changes the trajectory of life. If you're following this pattern in life and all of a sudden you make a new decision, now 6 months later you're here, a year later, 5 years, you're here, not here anymore. It changes that quickly.
So people that look at the sort of thing you do, you know, the so-called skeptics, they say, well, you know, it's all nonsense, because of course they don't understand the nature of reality. That's why they say that. So what is the process of what you do then? When
Number one, I don't call myself a psychic because the word is tainted. It's misunderstood, but all it means is intuition if you look it up.
Right.
So I call myself an intuitive therapist because I'm very solution-oriented. So I help people to really go back and find their power and get it back, which means they're going to have to let go of all these false beliefs and systems that they have about themselves. I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not thin enough, you know, all that BS. We have to let go of all those false identities. It's real important to really pay attention to the words that we put after the word I am, because that's what defines us. I am sick, I am healthy, the brain soaks in it, it's a biocomputer, and whatever it is that we say after those two words is exactly what's going to manifest tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. So we have to reset. Go back to the default settings, if you were. You know, the default settings is a level of perfection. If you're connected with love, which some people call God, some people call higher power, some people call the source, spirit, whatever. When you connect with love, everything resets itself. So love of self is the first lesson that we have. It's been the most difficult in my 44 years of doing this work. I find that that's the last journey, the last adventure is the reclamation, is that how you say it?
Yep.
Of self-love. People can love other people, but they're still hard on themselves, and that's self-rejection, it's self-abandonment, and it's self-abuse.
But this is the thing. When I got into this world nearly 30 years ago, it was I saw people who, in the so-called spiritual arena, that were equating poverty and suffering with spiritual purity. For me, that's complete
dogma.
Nonsense. Yeah. It's another religion. Also it's another look at me, isn't it? It's another, you know, I am the story. Instead of realizing that the art of spirituality is in manifesting what you want and what you need, rather than pushing it away. Because, you know, if you see purity as poverty, spiritual purity as poverty, what you're going to do? You are going to put up an energetic field, basically, a barrier, that's going to stop affluence and abundance coming in, right?
And we're supposed to have it all.
Yeah.
And to have that kind of state of mind to me is pretty egotistical, quite frankly, because it's about them. Me. You know, look at me, I'm suffering. Like these people that nail themselves to the cross in these other countries. Oh my gosh, look at how much I'm suffering. I mean, why do you want to do that? That's counterproductive to what we believe. And what we believe is self-love, which means when you believe in self-love and you have total respect for yourself and you have a high self-esteem, there's nothing that stops us. We can change anything. One person at a time. If each person did this, this planet would change that quickly.
So when you say you're clairaudient,
yeah.
who is actually speaking to you then? I mean,
whatever dimension.
Yeah.
I actually have a entity who I've been working with for most of my life. I've always been guided by some kind of angelic being, you know, different dimensional beings. I've been in contact with a lot of extraterrestrial beings since I was probably 4 and continue to do so. I've been on their crafts before. They actually fly over here. We see them going right into the bay, you know.
When you say been on the craft, give us some examples.
Oh, it's nocturnal. I'm usually asleep, but I'm aware that I'm in there. And it's pretty fascinating to actually see how their technology works. And I was fascinated by the toilet.
The toilet?
Yeah, it didn't use water, you know. But I was really young. I was in my 20s. And
so what do they use then?
Well, it's almost a clear plexi plastic kind of a thing, you know, and it is... And I remember just kind of sucked it, you know, there was no water in any way, and it was like, well, this is really an interesting thing. And I remember that there was a woman being that was speaking to me. She was working on my back, but there was a whole bunch of people in there waiting, and she would address each one of them in their own language. But she was wearing something in her hair and her head that was allowing her to communicate with each person's language, and that was the first time I was taken up.
What form do they take?
There are different ones. The ones from Orion are the Greys. I've had a lot of experience with them. They used to intimidate me, but not anymore. Yet, after I saw them, I wanted to see them again and again and again. And then I started reaching out to these beings more from the Pleiades and also from Andromeda. They're very, very tall, almost blonde, very clear blue eyes, and there are others that look Asian. And I've seen both of them, and I recently had another surgery about maybe 2 months ago with an Asian-looking one, and it was pretty interesting because when they work on you, you wake up the next day and you're actually sore in that area where they worked on you. He worked on my liver, and it's not like I don't drink and have problems with my liver, but he was removing some things from it, and I took a blood test, and there was an anomaly with my liver count. It came up really high, and I was asked if I am an alcoholic or drank a lot, and I go, no, I drink maybe once a month, or socially, but 2 is my limit. So something happened there, it was thrown off, and so I tested it a month later, and I was back to normal again. So I noticed that there was some toxins blocked in there, because the liver does also, it represents, as you said, anger. And there were some things that I was angry about that I needed to clear out. And it was really anger about mostly past life, that I'm very familiar with my past life, and I was angry about my childhood. But I let all that go because now I understand it. I understand how they connect to this lifetime, which is fascinating when people learn about their past life.
I remember you emailing me and saying I've just had a not quite, but almost catastrophic liver test result, and then a month later it gone.
It was gone.
Yeah. What do you think about this whole thing that you were talking about earlier about the left brain and history? I absolutely understand what you're saying, but if you get caught in the left brain, then you must therefore repeat history and just go round and round and round.
Exactly.
And get nowhere.
It's called looping. We have these conversations in our head, and we think about the same thing over and over again, and it drives us nuts. That's why a lot of people keep journals and they write down whatever they're thinking about, because thoughts are in the 4th dimension, the 5th dimension. They're not in the 3rd dimension, because if they were, you could see thoughts flying by.
Yeah.
Can't. So they're in a different dimension, but as soon as you write down whatever you're thinking about, that's how you empty your head, and that's why people feel better after keeping a journal. Or if you talk to someone about it, you're also letting it out, because now you can hear it in the 3rd dimensional plane. But the looping, it can drive people mad, and then they come to the wrong conclusions, because what it triggers is negative emotions.
So what do you say to people when they come along and their head is full of what we're talking about, this concept of history? How do you get them into what people call the now?
Well, I ask them, how's that working for you? What benefits are there? What's your life manifesting right now? You're obviously here for a reason. You're not looking really happy about things, and so therefore, how would you like to find some ways to turn that around? Because you have the power within. We all have the power within to change anything at any time. Like I said, it's a thought away, it's a decision away. And so I guide them. That's where they get back their personal power. We need to get back our personal power.
So when people come along and they're what I call left brain prisoners, people in that mode don't realize that that's what they are. They think they're free thinking, right?
Yeah.
And their thoughts are coming from them and what have you. How long does it take you for them to go, well, actually, I see what you mean. I'm thinking like that.
So what I do is I tell them to try some of the things, not try, but do some of the things that I have shown them for 1 week, and then go back to their old ways for another week, and then contact me and let me know what their experience was. Because change happens very quickly, and so they're going to notice if they use new tools, and that's all they are, tools, and people just not. If you had a car but you didn't know how to drive it, you go back to your horse, right?
Yeah.
And then when someone teaches you how to drive a car, you start to use your car. So what I do is I give them new tools for the tool chest, so to speak, and then they implement them for 7 days, and then they stop doing it for 7 days, and they notice a huge difference. I like to do that because it lets them know that there is significant change immediately.
Yeah,
it's a good thing to do.
This is another thing in the if you like the traditional spiritual movement.
Which one, like the New Age?
Yeah, but and also of the East, to be fair. In my view, that this journey has to be long. It has to be hard.
Nope.
You have to suffer and then suffer again and then it's more and more. When actually it can be very quick.
Yeah.
I've seen that people.
Yes.
You'll have examples, but I'm seeing now people. I was talking to a waiter at this hotel. He said 4 months ago. He said I'd never heard of you. And then now I'm a completely changed person. He's coming to the event at San Francisco on Saturday.
Oh, good.
And I was talking to him this morning, for a while, and this fella had got it, and he got it quick. It can be very fast.
It is. The old suffering, that is dogmatic. That's religion. Religion, sometimes it's a path to the center, the Godhead, so to speak, or love. It can be like, if you look at a wheel from a bicycle, it's got many spokes, right? So there's many paths to the center or love. Some people use religion to get there. When I was 19 years old, I was teaching a seminar called Seminars on Success, SOS. And I had 3 nuns and a Mother Superior in my class. And she said, you're so advanced. She says, you need to leave the Catholic Church. So I'm not kidding you. I got permission.
I love it.
I got permission from the Mother Superior to leave the Catholic Church. So I did. My mother and I immediately went to a metaphysical church. It was called the Science of the Mind. It's kind of like unity, and it was more positive. And then I started studying Buddhism and Taoism and Judaism, and attracted a Jewish boyfriend at the time too, so it was interesting. I didn't study the Quran. That's the only one I didn't study. But as I started learning later, I was like, wow, this is pretty interesting stuff, Not what the terrorists are doing, of course, but the real religion itself. So I just wanted to know about everything. And I settled with, since I work a lot with energy, because I believe that everything is energy and light, that I'm more aligned with Taoism than anything else, if I wanted to connect with some type of belief system. Because I like the fact that this world is all about physics. It's science, it's physics, and it's energy, and it's light. And that's what we are, too. And even this table here moves. It's not inanimate.
No. But the conscious mind keeps saying, what you're talking about, of course it is. Look, I can bang it.
Yeah, that's why I talk to plants and, animals and trees and whatever.
Which you can. How quickly have you seen people change sometimes from how they walked in the door?
Oh my gosh.
To how they
Well, after doing about maybe 60,000 readings,
yeah,
which is a lot, I've had clients that I just cheer for them because they listen, they follow through, and I think they've spent maybe 6 sessions with me, I think I had one that came in for 12 sessions, and we spaced it once a month, and so it took her a year. But she went from being a doormat who was in a terrible relationship with her husband, who didn't touch her, didn't do anything, to now he was chasing her everywhere. He was intimidated by her. She had even lost weight, and it came off on her own because she changed so much. Her energy shifted.
What she was holding in came out.
It came out, exactly. And now she's so happily married, and this guy who just didn't, want anything to do with her. But I gave her some really good stuff, though. I remember telling her. And then she caught on and started coming up with brilliant ways. And then she contacted me, and I said, oh, my gosh. I said, that's brilliant for you to come up with that,
Yeah, very satisfying.
Yes. I love getting that feedback, I don't read what people write about me because I think that's kind of shallow. But I hear that the testimonials are pretty good, because I also locate missing animals, missing people, and that kind of thing too. I like that because me, I love animals more than some people. Sometimes they're pure love. Animals are pure love.
So how do people get hold of you if they want to read them?
Well, I do have a website, Monnica.com, and it's Monnica.com. And Monnica has 2 N's because I changed my name. And I woke up one morning and I saw it in front of me and I go, oh, Monnica with 2 N's. Okay, I guess I'm supposed to change my name. And I just did it. I didn't question it. I went through all the legal stuff and I just changed it. And my family was like, you're what? You're Monnica now? I said, yeah. So it's been like that since '83. And that's why my website has 2 N's. If you go to Monnica.com with 1 N, it used to be a porn site, but I'm the one that gives good mind, okay? So now it belongs to the rock star, the blues R&B singer Monnica. So you have to use 2 N's. It's easier to tell you that than my last name, which is a
Sepulveda.
Sepulveda. It's a Spanish last name. So just Monnica.com, and you can get my email address there. There's a lot of good stuff. I have a section called the Checkup from the Neck Up, which you focus on color and sound, and by focusing on color and sound, you're picking up vibrations from, because you can see sound and hear color. and it actually aligns the chakras, and it's a really cool site. And I designed my entire website, in fact, and it's alive because the pictures are either glittery or they're moving. And so there's different sections. There's videos you can watch of me from my YouTube channel, also some science spirits videos that are really good. They're short, but they're really animated. There's also some radio shows I've done as well. Richie Allen's was added on me recently, yeah. And then with it, you can read about me if you want to know how I work. People that come in with negative stuff, they leave feeling completely the opposite. So my outcome is for each person to leave feeling that they're back in their power again. And sometimes they come back because they need to retune. And as you said before, I love this when you said people tend to go back to their default nature, their old habits. And so that's why they come back, because they need reminding. And I record every session because I don't want people taking notes. So I talk to people worldwide, and I use Skype a lot, you know, because Skype is, I like looking at their faces, you know, and it's better than a phone call.
Well, you've been very accurate with me over the years, Monnie.
Oh,
nice to meet you again, Donald, and
nice to meet me again.
All the best.
Another 15 years of friendship, or more.
Or more.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, a lot more.
A lot more.
We're not going yet, are we?
No.
No.
Thanks, David.